All right, hello and welcome everybody to the GT2 or G2 M2 Tuesday night jam where we have all of the guys in the same cars, basically road cars. And we'll get the title here changed very soon. Thank you everyone for joining us, whether you're watching the VOD or joining us here at the beginning. Appreciate it. Tonight we're going to have an action-packed race here at the Glen, Watkins Glen, the New America tracks. And we should also have chat on screen if I'm not mistaken. Hopefully we can get that to work. How's everyone doing tonight? We can get into the game here, get the audio rolling. We can do a quick grid rundown here very soon. Or why not right now? Where I've recently learned how to use free cam. So, in this race, starting in P1, we have Dornales, our previous race winner. In P2, we have Polgren. P3, we have I'm Not Jimmy, the lovely blue and green Intel car, as I've said before. We have the 433 car of Mr. Smith, or Mark Smith, I think it is. Excuse me if I'm wrong. Then we have Raza, Ollie Raza, sitting back in P5 with Gonzalez. Car number 13 right behind him, lining up side by side. Spot missing there. That's okay. Then we have the 18 car of Beachley, along with the 74 car of Mike Burkov, one of my favorites here. And then the lovely, bright car here of Holly, who last race put up an incredible defense. Then we will have Professor Kornitis bringing up P10. We have Kostovich bringing up P11. Cole, oh no, we're off underway here. Oh my. We have Colin bringing up P12. Rivera P13, Eric Miller P14, Fallen P15, Skinner P16, Felker P17, Andy Oak P18, Vincent P19, Lackney P20, Smith P21, Marzan P22, Provolone P23, Milwy P24, Padberg P25, Wolfie P26, Varicosa P27, Sapia P28, Shelter P29, and bringing up the very back here at Booth P30, who has yet to get underway. And, yes, how's everyone doing? I think my chat is once again, I'm not sure if it's working. We should have chat on screen here if I'm not mistaken, but it does not look like it will be working, of course. As the cars are currently just on the formation lap. Weaving, getting some temperature into their tires here. You see Kenneth Smith there. Like I said, Kevin Smith before. My bad. These cars here bring up the actually quite short outlap here at the Glen, which I am unfamiliar with this track and still trying to get Twitch chat up, so I apologize, guys. But we will bring it up here at the front. In fact, we can bring it out here in the free cam, where we will view the cars coming around the penultimate corner. And then they will be blasting down the straight. So they all come rounding it. And we will see them all towards turn one here as they have a running start. Man, Twitch makes everything difficult, doesn't it? That's okay. No. No. I apologize. As this isn't turn 1. Yeah. I don't know this track yet. We're getting there. And I have other things. We're getting there. I apologize, guys. These past few streams have been a little frantic. The next few will definitely be a lot more professional. We'll call it that, if you want to call it that. Okay. As the cars here now are rounding the final corner, we can hop into free cam as we see them round it. Lovely. Okay. Now I have chat open. Hopefully this stays working. I apologize, guys, once again. As the cars all lining up, Noah's Ark formation here, 2x2, coming down the start-finish straight as we're about to come underway here.
Green light.
We are green, green, green at Watkins, Glen here in America on the new tracks. Lovely start from P1 as Dornales gets off to a blasting start and has a basically complete lead going into turn 1 as they're side by side in P2 and 3. A lot of cars side by side as we can now jump on board with some cars. We got Mike Burkov here battling throughout the field. Luckily, a very, very clean turn 1, despite the 90-degree turn. Was extremely clean on turn 1. Mr. Smith getting tailed on right now. Looking like Gonzalez wants to make a move on him somewhat soon here. A lot of these drivers are going to be very unfamiliar with this track, as so am I. But Gonzalez pressuring the 433 car, Mr. Smith, very hard. Ali Raza absolutely loving this as he is just trying his best to pull away. Still struggling to, unfortunately, but he's side by side actually, making a little bit of contact there with that's Polgren. I'm Not Jimmy benefiting from this a lot as he is now pulling away in P2. It's a great race so far from I'm Not Jimmy. And Ali Raza as well. Very awesome starts. Dornales dominant as usual, I would say, as he was the previous P3 starter. I'm not sure what determines the race start on this order. I apologize. But he was P3 last race. So he started P1 this race. Or he maybe started... Anyways, we have some position changes down in the midfield here. Side-by-side action, a little bit of contact with the 13 car and the 433 of Gonzalez and Smith. A little bit of argy-bargy action going on there, but looks like Mr. Smith still manages to hold his ground. Gage Gonzalez just can't quite get it done yet. Everyone so far so good, making it very clean throughout as we can jump back here. Professor Carnitas diving down the inside here, down the start-finish straight. Looking like he's going to make up a bit of ground, actually. We can maybe jump on board with him as he sees his gap. The 49 car leaves him just enough space. He can't quite get down the inside of him, unfortunately, but he'll definitely be looking to do that this lap. As he can't quite make it, but Rivera side by side with Eric Miller. As they're side by side throughout the S's there, but Rivera holding his position off valiantly, not letting Eric Miller by. Everyone else seeming fairly content with their positions, as we have a little bit of action down here. Provolone overtaking, I think it was Vincent there, we didn't quite see that. Bit of action down in the backfield as well, but most of it up here at the front, as we see Dornales, the race leader, just absolutely pulling away. Currently going to be starting in last place, as this is going to be a reverse order grid for the next race. Ali Raza there, holding his ground quite firmly, as he did manage to get by I'm Not Jimmy. Unfortunately, we did not see that. And now I'm Not Jimmy actually getting pressured by Gage Gonzalez. A lot of these drivers just tucking in right behind each other. Jace, we got Skinner there, managing to make an overtake as Professor Canitis looked like he ran wide there. Unfortunately lost his position. Down to P11 for him. And we can see here current lap times, or I suppose that's gaps. We have a 2:02.0 from Dornales. A lot of people following up in the high 2:02s. Everyone not separated by much, though. It's looking like 2:06 so far, 2:07. I mean, we got a bit of a gap this time. Last race, we had a very extremely close field. A lot of these drivers pushing quite hard as you see them using all the track there going onto the dirt. Mike Burkov, right in the slipstream of Polgren, wants to maybe make a move here around the outside. He's going to have the inside for the next turn. Can't quite get it done. And now he's under pressure, actually, from Kostovich. So we'll see here. Kostovich managing to actually push Mike Burkov wide. And Mike Burkov under pressure takes the outside line. Kostovich has the inside. He's going to have the upper hand here on the exit. Coming in the next corner, he does firmly have it sold. Lovely overtake from Kostovich there as Mike Burkov getting a little too exuberant, unfortunately, trying to go for Polgren, but just lost his position. See a little bit more battling down here as Rivera tucks in on the inside. We're going to see if he can try to maybe make a dive down the inside here. Is that Professor Canitis? I think he's actually defending there. Lovely defense. Professor Canitis not quite making the move as he is actually under defense as well from Eric Miller. And we have a yellow flag, actually. We have Colin, unfortunately, looking like he had a little bit of a self-induced spin, maybe. So we can go and check that out. Go back 15 as he, yep, unfortunately, looks like right there, just got on the throttle a little too early. Unfortunate. Lost a few positions. Luckily, he did manage to keep it on track mostly. He did make contact with the guardrail there, but seeming like he's all right and going to keep going. He fell down to P16. It's not the end of the world. We see more battling here, side-by-side action with Kostovich and Polgren as Kostovich is wasting no time to get through this field. But Mike Burkov looking like he wants to make his revenge here on Polgren. But Polgren also going for an offensive-defensive move here. Mike Burkov not quite sure what he's going to do here. He's just going to tuck in right behind as the track is completely taken up in front of him. And Kostovich managing to firmly hold that position, but Polgren under firm pressure here. Mike Burkov going to take the inside line, it looks like. We'll see. He gives him a squeeze. Polgren does. Gives him enough room, though. Mike Burkov still fighting around the outside. Runs all the way out there. He's still going to be holding the outside line here. He will have the inside for this corner. The 444 car is going to try to make a switchback, get the better run onto the start-finish straight, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to as he does tuck down the inside. He does want to go for it again as he's a little bit far back. He's going to have to make quite the lunge under brakes. Mike Burkov gives him the good squeeze as he rightfully has the, right to. And Polgren concedes the position. That was an absolutely lovely overtake right there from Mike Burkov as he takes his revenge on Polgren after, well, Kostovich tried to take his position, and now Kostovich is well up the road battling I'm Not Jimmy. I'm Not Jimmy looking like he's holding on for dear life as maybe this isn't a battle he should be fighting, unfortunately. Kostovich looking like he's going to be taking the lunge down the inside here and making easy work of I'm Not Jimmy. Nothing against I'm Not Jimmy, of course, just that Kostovich is a very talented driver in the 949 car. Looks like that might have been a track limit warning, as I'm sure we'll be seeing that here at some point with a lot of track limits, but I'm Not Jimmy going right back at Kostovich. Not going to give up that battle just yet. He's still looking like he wants to have a little bit of it. I don't think he's going to quite have the run, as he's a little bit too far back here to make quite the lunge if he wanted to do so, which he does not, thankfully. And looking like the Reaper, all of this action going on here. We have Gonzalez in P3 and Ali Raza in P2. We'll see how long they can manage to hold these positions, as hopefully they can hold it to the end here, but they're doing quite well so far. And Smith bringing up P4, holding up the rest of the field as it looks like. Well, not quite. I think the rest of the field is just catching him. Kostovich still somewhat battling with I'm Not Jimmy, as we'll see here. I don't think I'm Not Jimmy is going to manage to do anything to Kostovich, as he shouldn't. Once again, this isn't quite his battle. And the 949 car pulling firmly away. On his way here to catch the leaders, Dornales managing to pull 2.8 seconds ahead of the rest of the field here. Making this look easy, honestly. Down at the back here, we have Marzan. A lot of battling down in the back. Someone made a little bit of contact with the wall. The Naya Cat M2. Definitely, it looked like they made a little bit of contact with the barrier there. As these cars can take a little bit of a clattering, as they're not too reliant on aerodynamics. They're all about the good old-fashioned mechanical grip. Apologize there, had to take a quick drink of water. Getting quite parched. A lot of side-by-side action here. Marzan battling with Beachley. Can't quite, or that's Fallen, that is. Fallen managing to hold his position. Doesn't look like Marzan quite can challenge him just yet. They scrap for too long here. Yeah, Beachley is looking like he wants to have a little bit of piece of the action, but Padberg right behind him, clobbering that curb. Trying to take the opposite line, get the good switchback on him in the 888 M2, but can't quite get it done yet, as he runs all the way wide, using all that track to his advantage. Looking like he does have the inside line there. Padberg manages to get by Beachley. That was a very impressive overtake, using all of the track to his advantage. We're side by side, Marzan and Fallen here. Looking like Fallen conceding that place there to Marzan, but not quite, just braking early to get the better exit, as they're now side by side again down the straight. Marzan pulling firmly away, though. And now Fallen going side by side with Padberg. Padberg making the lunge. He manages to get that done. Unfortunately, Fallen got caught scrapping with everyone else. Managed to lose a position of his own. He's going to try to battle that one back. We see more battling down here, as we see Milwee side by side as he's losing that position, unfortunately, to Felker. Felker trying to make his way up the field. Marzan and Professor Cranitis here, side by side. Marzan using all of the track there. Cranitis down the inside. We'll see if he manages to get a run here. I don't think he will, but he definitely will try. So they're side by side there, but he does manage to stick it down the inside, actually. Wow, lovely move there from Professor Cranitis, holding onto his position there from Fallen. Fallen now under attack. Not quite, though, as he does still want to make that move on Professor Cranitis, as he knows he has the pace there. He just has to get by, as it's one thing to catch, it's another thing to overtake, but he's looking like he's trying to go down the outside here, going to have the inside on the next chicane. But he backs out, tries to go for the switchback on the exit there, uses all the track, but he runs wide, and looking like he scrubs quite a bit of time off now, under pressure actually from Holly, As Holly coming from nowhere back in P16, looking like he wants to make his way up the field. So he had a very lovely race last time, defending like an absolute champion. We'll see if he can manage to get by here, Professor Carnitis. As we look up the field at Polgren, defending like he is defending like a madman right now of Eric Miller. Or he's actually attacking Eric Miller. That's Marzan defending like a madman, is it? Yes. We got a lot of action here. Marzan leading the rest of the pack here at Padberg and Carnitis. Pulling out decently ahead. Rivera trying to pressure Skinner. Polgren trying to maybe clean up the scraps here. See if he can manage to. It's going to be a little difficult as, well, it's getting a little bit midway through the race. The tires are going to be starting to fall off, but we have a battle up here at P4 actually. Gonzalez and Kostovich side by side. Kostovich trying to make up that ground as he did manage to get by Smith a while ago, I suppose. Now he has to try to make his way as he's now defending from, oh, that is Smith, excuse me. Smith and Kostovich battling. Smith going to try to make that move back. Looking like he wants to as he's going to try to take the opposite line. Kostovich going heavy on the defensive, taking the off line. Braking very late there. Lovely defense from Kostovich. He's still under pressure from Smith. Smith not giving up. These two keep battling. Mike Burkov looking like he wants to get involved in this action as well. Currently 2 seconds behind. Smith, 0.2 seconds behind. Not giving up whatsoever. Looking like he will be settling down for right now. Kostovich pulling out just a little bit. So we see here Gonzalez and Raza battling for P2. They need to work together here as they definitely do not have the pace to keep Kostovich behind them. They do not have time to be wasting, unfortunately, battling each other. They need to be trying to push here and worry about each other a little bit later. Kostovich is going to be absolutely loving this, and so is Dornales, as he's going to be just pulling away in this. Gonzalez looking like he wanted to make a little move down the inside of Raza, but Raza not falling for it whatsoever. Trying to sell him the dummy. Not falling for it is Professor Carnitis. We can look down the field here. Defending his position quite well down in P16. We have more action up the field with Rivera and Polgren. Ooh, bumper to bumper action here. The 96 car and the 53. So looking like they want to go side by side in the next chicane. Oh, as looks like the 93 car there very much took out the, or 96 car, excuse me, took his racing line and cut off Rivera there quite hard. Rivera still not quite having any of it yet. So we can hop on board real quick just to see how impressive this racing is. Rivera not wanting to give an inch. In fact, we can hop on board with Ollie Raza. We might as well down here in P3. Trying to make his move on Gonzalez. He's going to be looping around here in the final sector. He's going to be wanting to make a move here on the final straight. Or start-finish straight. See if he can manage to make that move. Or if he's going to wait another lap. I don't think he wants to wait another lap, though. But like I said before, they need to be working together if they want to have any chance of trying to secure ahead of Kostovich. Kostovich 6 seconds behind and climbing. It does look like Ollie Raza settling down here behind Gonzalez. Looking like he doesn't quite want to have a fight. Smart move, I would say. Mike Burkov, though, P6, making his way through the field. Unfortunately, I didn't see any of his action. He started very far down the field. Managed to make up quite a bit of ground. As he does have a smashed up bumper, though, it looks like. Whoa, and he runs wide. Manages to come back and rejoin safely. Not losing really too much time at all, luckily. But looking like the car there is struggling with grip. Actually, I don't think he does have a damaged bumper. I think that was just his livery. I think he is all good. I think that was just a little bit of a spin. Gonzalez currently with the fastest lap of a 2:01.5. We have Smith pulling up P5 right now, managing to hold his ground as he's just trying to keep that 1 second gap to Mike Burkov. Mike Burkov, though, really wanting to take that ground up. Looking down the field here, we have Lackany. Whoa, as we see someone there running wide, I think that was Beachley, unfortunately, running off into the grass there. So there was a bit of scrapping going on. Lackany and Smith managing to benefit greatly from that. Provolone as well up the field, down to 2 more positions up, overtaking Cronitis, as Cronitis losing a lot of positions, unfortunately. Milwee as well. Side-by-side action. So I'm not sure who he's side-by-side with. The 950 car is side-by-side with the 48 car, or the 484 car, which, unfortunately, he does not quite make it. We have a 7-month streak from Lateral G. Gotta love it. Thank you. Much appreciated, man. Everyone say some thanks to him in the chat as he is supporting this community. Not just this community, but also the community of 949 and Box 3, as all of these communities have come together to work together in this, as we have a lot of cars from both, well, all 3 Discords joining together to make this wonderful community. We see more side-by-side action here. Marzan trying to push all he can to keep Eric Miller behind him. So there's 8 minutes left in this race. Ali Raza still trying to get to Gonzalez. As, yes, they have not switched positions, I don't think. Gonzalez pushing as hard as he can right now, trying to keep that position. Now they can afford to start scrapping, as Kostovich does. He's 6 seconds behind. He has to make up quite a bit of time. They might want to wait a little bit, but I'm sure that's going to be easier to say to Gonzalez than it is Raza. Let's just say that. Skinner as well, looking like he wants to have a look down here at I'm Not Jimmy, and I'm Not Jimmy starting up the field quite high. Looking like he lost a few positions, but still managing to hold quite high up here. As once again, I shall remind everyone, this is a reverse grid. The next race, which will be on the same track, will be starting the person in the very last place, which is Andy Oak currently. I'm assuming he finished 75% of this race, which I think he did. And Vincent and Vericoso will be making up our podium, as actually we see some battling down at the back of the field for who will be starting in last, it looks like. Vericoso and Vincent just having a little bit of a scrap. I'm not sure if Vincent wants to make up that ground, as he will be starting in P2 rather than P3 if he does hold his current position. Currently, Dornales absolutely gone from the field, 6.5 seconds up ahead. He will be starting in last, and he will be trying to carve his way through the pack early on. Gonzalez still defending all he can from Raza. Raza looks like he maybe lost a bit of his tires, So he's looking like he's going to try to take the alternate line here, but whoa, Gonzalez runs wide. Ollie Raza, we'll see if he can manage to take advantage of that. He's going to take the alternate line, go for the switchback. He goes right up to his bumper. We can hop on board with him. Coming into the final sector here. He has a great run on him. Runs wide, though, unfortunately. Looking like he wants to try to carry that speed, but not quite. Because we have a yellow flag on track, the 888 Ferrari. Or 888 Ferrari. The 888 of Padberg looking like he had a little bit of a spin. We can go and check that out real fast. Go back. So he looks like, yeah, just like a little bit of a self-induced spin. Unfortunate. We see action with Kenneth Smith here. Should come back to real time here any second. Side-by-side action up the field, though. Now we're live. Professor Kanitis overtaking. I think that was in a pits. We have a lot of... Okay. 3 cars here battling. I'm Not Jimmy. Trying to hold his ground here on P7. Under pressure from Skinner and Rivera. Rivera right behind him here. As he does run wide, does I'm Not Jimmy. And Skinner going to try to have the inside line here. Coming into the first turn. He doesn't quite have the run. I'm Not Jimmy looking like he's going to be able to hold that position. Skinner just not quite brave enough on those brakes. Try to make that lunge down the inside, but he still is challenging here. Coming around turn 3. They're side by side once, kind of a little bit. Makes no sense. Anyways, 69 car now. Actually, I'm Not Jimmy losing 2 positions right there. Wow. Okay, I'm Not Jimmy ran wide for a second and got eaten up by Skinner and Rivera. That happened extremely quick, and now Skinner pulling his way up the field. Mike Burkov ahead of him, trying his best to make his way to Smith. Not sure he'll be able to here by the end of the race, as it is one thing once again to catch, but it is another to overtake. Ollie Raza, though, doesn't care about that sentiment whatsoever. He wants to overtake, as he has been trying all these laps, as he's running wide, using all of the track to his advantage here, trying his best. It'll look like he's maybe going to set up the alternate line here going into the final sector to try to get a run into the first turn. It's going to be very challenging, as Gonzalez driving a very solid defensive race so far. Not letting Raza have an inch on him on any turn. He does have the run here. Looking like he wants to make a run down the final straight, but he doesn't quite have the speed. These cars are more or less powerful road cars, so they do not have all the fancy, invisible effects that all these upper GT3 cars have, and even GT4 cars. No invisible nonsense mumbo jumbo here. This is all racing. I'm Not Jimmy is not too happy with that racing, unfortunately, as he started, I think, in P2 and dropped all the way down the field here down to P9. The upside is he'll be starting more up the field of this 30-man race, as Andy Oak currently will be leading the field. 2 minutes left here, as we're going to be coming 2 more laps to the leader. Andy Oak will be leading next race. This will be a reverse grid, followed by Booth and then Vericosa. Those will be our podium runners for the next race. So we see more battling here. Hawley overtaking Provolone, I think that was. Maybe making a defense, I'm not sure. Looking like he does have the speed there. Probably looks like it was an overtake. It's mechanical grip only. Enough. These cars don't exactly have the best engines, so slipstream isn't worth nothing. but it is as soon as you pull out of the slipstream is the issue. So you can have a very good run, but as soon as you pull out, you are essentially a brick. So we see another yellow flag there down the track. Varricosa not going to be changing much, as he might be starting actually behind Andy Oak. Booth returning to pits, as he did complete more than 75% of this race. He will be starting in the final position, I think. Ollie Raza still holding on, as we will stay on board with him for this lap. Trying his best to get Gonzalez here. Gonzalez driving an amazing defensive race, still holding the fastest lap. Dornales ahead of him, driving just a very, very consistent race. Not having to worry about anything. And Gonzalez here, looking like he will manage to hold on as he's pulling a decent gap here. Raza, he can feel it slipping away. He's going to have to hope for a mistake here from Gonzalez. But Gonzalez driving very well. He just needs to keep a calm and cool head. Is Raza closing up under braking there, but I think he's going to lose. Actually, Gonzalez running wide. Looking like he's losing a bit of his cool head there. Come on, camera. There we are. Gonzalez now right bumper to bumper with Ollie Raza. Ollie Raza trying his best to make this overtake here. As they're running out of time, though. They're coming into the final sector. Ollie Raza's running out of turns. He's trying his best. Tucked into the slipstream here. He's going to try to make a lunge down the inside, maybe, but not quite. He doesn't have the confidence under braking. It's looking like here, Ollie Raza, not quite as Ollie Raza runs wide as well. Gonzalez looking like he's going to hold on to his position for P2, driving an amazingly defensive race. That was a very, very solid race from Gonzalez, holding P2, I think, throughout the entire race, pretty much from lap 1. Ollie Raza challenging him the entire time, trying his best. As they now come across the line, P2 and P3, wonderful drive from both of them. Behind them you see Kostovich following up, not quite making the ground he wanted to, looking like his tires maybe fell off a bit at the end there. Followed up by Mike Burkov and Martin Smith in P5 and P6. And we have Rivera crossing the line, followed by Skinner and I'm Not Jimmy. Followed by Marzan and Polgren. Then we have Miller crossing the line now. We see Fallon rounding the final corner along with the final group here. A lot of these drivers are going to be trying their best this next race, as they're going to be starting in the front of the midfield, as this next race will be a reverse grid once again. All the drivers now coming across the line, most of them side by side, as this field is racing to the very end, actually. I probably should have been paying attention to that a little bit more. Lovely racing throughout the entire field from lap 1 all the way out to the final lap. All the drivers having a little bit of fun after the race is done, of course. And Andy Oak, looking like he will be our P2 finishing the race, bringing up our final sitter. He'll be starting P2, followed by, well, in front of him will be Booth, and then behind him will be Varricosa. So hopefully they will be trying their best to make up a better race next time. As drivers are going to be at the back of the field here, we have Dornales, Gonzalez, and Raza. 3 extremely solid drivers, as we saw very defensive drivers. Well, Gonzalez and Dornales. So we will see how they fare in the next race here, as they have to do nothing but attack up the grid. It's actually, I don't think we saw too many track cuts. I didn't see any penalties, actually, which surprises me, as last week we had quite a few penalties. But a lot of these drivers here seeming like they're actually driving the Glen quite well. as we are going to take a quick break here, slide over to an intermission. And we'll be right back. All right, everyone, welcome back. So it was a short little break. Not much has happened, or anything has happened, as I think we need to leave the server and rejoin it, if I'm not mistaken, as we'll be having this reverse grid now. Hopefully it has restarted. I'm not sure it has yet.
Green light. Go, go, go.
It has. It's weird. Into free practice here. Everyone going to be coming back here into the server. So we do have most people back into the server. We had 30 drivers last race. As we can now, actually, now that we have a little bit of time, I'm not sure how much time, but time nonetheless, we can jump through and take a look at these liveries real fast. So we see here, Professor Carnitis bringing up the very, very extravagant livery here with the Bob Ross, followed up by the Picasso, and then another painter that Eric told me that I forgot the name of. Then next on the grid, we have the more basic silver and black 55 car of, who is this? Excuse me? Okay. We have the 55 car of Fallen. There we are. I love the blue rims, I will say. It complements that quite well. Then up next, the 188 car here. The GoPro looking like a very more standard livery as well. Probably one of the base ones in the game. I'm not sure. Looking very blue though. As once again, this will be a reverse order, as that is currently what people are going to be trying their best to, or not trying their best, they will be setting up right now. Getting everyone from their last position and then reversing it. So the person that started in first last race, which was, I just opened the wrong thing. I just opened Illustrator. Oh man. I'm great at this, I assure you. Was Dornalis, who had a very dominant race, absolutely challenged by nobody, followed up by Ali Raza. No, excuse me. Ali Raza, who was challenging, Ali Raza ended up in P3, followed up by Gonzalez, who drove a very, very defensive and solid race. There we are. Race control just being very fussy when you change servers, as usual. As actually, I don't think this server exists. No, it doesn't. That explains a lot.
Green light. Go, go, go.
Now we're doing the reverse grid thing. Lovely.
Hey, Mike, server is ready, so you should be able to
Yes,
pop back in.
I am back in. Thank you. Now, race control is back. Everything seems to be working. It's a miracle. So these drivers just going to be taking pretty much no time at all, really, to be in free practice. Probably just going to be getting a drink of water, as everyone else should. Stay hydrated, boys and girls. As I'm almost all the way through my water jug here. It's been very hot here on the Pacific Northwest. So it looks like, yeah, Booth will be starting in P1 then, as he did complete 75% of the race. And we will see who he's followed up by, as I don't quite remember right now. Well, Booth, you're going to, as you are now in chat, you're going to be defending a very, driving a very defensive race coming up here. Be starting in the very front of the grid. It's okay, you only have currently 27 cars behind you, soon to be 30. What could possibly go wrong? So all these drivers should remember no heroics on turn one. Last turn one went extremely well, actually, as I don't think we had a single incident. We had a few lap one incidents, but those were more self-inflicted than anything. And I guess we can go back here to looking at liveries. Why not? Why not? We see the Nyacat, the 18 car there, cruising on the pit lane. Beachley. And he's gone. Got the 949 car here. Repping from the 949 Discord, of course. Very more basic livery, red and black color scheme. Then you have, like I say, I like this livery. This it looks like actually this is a basic livery. It's blue and blue, very yellow. Another car there flying down the pit lane. Provolone, I think that's Jimmy, followed by Provolone. We have the 82 car here of Provolone. Yep, that's definitely Provolone that went down the pit lane. Anyways, 720 car of Andy Oak. Then we will have behind him the 190 car teammates to, well, who's no longer in here in the pit lane, but the 190 car once again of Vincent. Everyone's repping the blue. Everyone loves the blue and green. The 484 car as well. We have them running down in P6 currently, but That's not actually represented in the grid slot. We'll just jump on to track as I'm getting confused with these cameras and nonsense. See these drivers here just practicing a little bit as we have 5 minutes left in practice. A lot of these drivers don't probably need it. They're just kind of maybe seeing what it's like on a lower fuel load again, or maybe just on a higher fuel load. Driving is driving. Every lap matters. Clutch Racing, thank you for the Tier 1 subscription. Best of luck in this race. Actually, are you in this race? I don't think you're in this race. Maybe. Anyways, if you are, good luck in this race. I've kind of lost track, like I say, of everyone right now. Next week will be a lot better. Not racing today. Lovely. Well, best of luck in the future. And thank you for the subscription. I'm not Jimmy here. He's going to be starting as he had a very, thank you. Appreciate it, Clutch. He had a very good start to his race, running all the way up into P2, and then he kind of went to shambles and finished in P9. But, you know, someone's got to do that at some point, unfortunately, and I'm not Jimmy was the one. So hopefully he'll be making a recovery drive up from this one, as he'll be starting still quite far down the grid, as that once again was a reverse order grid. I'd say that a million times. But I'm not Jimmy. Gonna try his best to make his way through the field here. Getting all the practice laps he can in. Most of these other cars very just content with their setups. Colin, who if I'm not mistaken, finished quite low down on the field and be starting quite high up. So I don't think these current grid slots are representative. In fact, I know these current grid slots are not representative of the final or of the starting positions of the race. They will be changed around a little bit. As we see there, Padberg in first now, everyone getting moved around. So we're soon going to get underway here with 2 minutes left in this qualifying or practice. Be a little bit longer than that as we have a bit of a delay as drivers need to complete their out laps or invalidate them, one or the other. A lot of drivers here to keep an eye out for. Kostovich, who managed to finish in P4. He's going to be starting fourth to last. He's going to be trying his best to make his way through the field. And then we have all the way down at the bottom, we're going to have Gonzalez, who's running up P2. Couldn't quite, or second to last, I should say, getting P2 in the last race, who managed to defend his way from Rivera. But no one could match the speed of Dornales, the Brazilian wonder. Car number 3 here. Just driving the wheels off of this BMW. So he will be starting in the very back of the grid this race. So we'll see if he manages to make his way all the way through. It will be quite interesting to see. Most of these drivers concluding their practice session as we only have the drivers out on the previous lap starting. And then we will be jumping underway here very soon, as it looks like we're still getting positions sorted, so will be a little bit longer. So definitely some out of positions here. Dornalis, currently P1. Well, was P1, will be P30. We have 3 more cars on lap here. Just coming to a close here, this practice session. Looks like positions still being sorted. Takes a little bit. This is not a perfect system. Unfortunately, not yet at least. Not yet. As I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of switching around here on the grid. But no, it actually looks like most of these drivers are in their proper position. Still a bit of switching going on. But we have Booth bringing up P1, followed up by Andy Oak, followed up by Vericosa. There we are. Followed up by Vincent. Then P5 we have Padberg. In the 888 car, there we are. In the 18 car we have Beachley. Milwee bringing up P7. Wolf bringing up P8. Sapien bringing up P9. Schletter, apologize for mispronunciations, P10. And we have Lackney in P11. Professor Carnitis in P12. 49 car of Colin bringing up P13. Then in P14 we have Kevin Smith. Behind him, P15 is going to be Felker. Lining up beside him, Holly, who was in chat earlier. Best of luck in their race. Then we have Provolone, followed up by Fallen. Then Miller. Then Polgren, Marzan, I'm Not Jimmy, Skinner, Rivera, Mike Burkov, who once again had a very strong race, started quite far down the field. We'll see if he can manage to carve his way through the pack again. Followed up by Smith, who also drove, he just drove his race by himself more or less last race. Didn't have anyone to contest with. Then Kostovich, someone who's going to be making their way through the field for sure, started quite far down, managed to make up a lot of ground. Followed up by Ali Raza, and then Gonzalez, who Ali Raza just could not quite get the move done on, even though he tried lap after lap. And starting in the back of the grid, we have Dornalis. We'll see if Dornalis can manage to hold, well, to get his P1 back. I doubt it. We'll see. We'll see. As he does have to carve his way through 30 cars if he wants to do that. It'll be quite the challenge, but doable nonetheless. As these drivers are going to start rolling away here for their, well, cool down or opening lap, just to get their tires all heated up. Charlie Booth Probably very unfamiliar with sitting in pole position, but nonetheless is going to be leading this race here. Followed up by Andy Oak. All these drivers not that familiar with the top of the grid, so we'll see how long they can manage to hold on to these positions. Veracruz already has his... Oh, they all have their flashes. No, Veracruz has his flashes on. No, it doesn't have them on anymore. Alright. All these cars. M2s, all the same. Looking the exact same as the one next to it is. Quite literally in this case. Mirror images. One and the same, but quite different. So all these drivers quite close in speed as we saw last race, as I should have been paying attention to. Oops, excuse me. Pen. As last race, we should have been paying attention to the back of the grid, as I did not realize how much action was actually going on back there. As there was racing from, well, P2 all the way back to the final position. But that was a previous race. Now we have Booth leading, followed by Andy Oak and Barracosa. And once again, our previous leaders, Dornales, he's just getting heat into his tires, getting ready. He's very calm. We have Gonzalez, once again, very calm driver, who managed to show that last race, defending extremely well from Ali Raza. But Ali Raza, he's in the lead right now. We'll see if he can manage to keep Gonzalez behind him, as they are not rounding the final corner, as this is not your typical track. I apologize last race for that. As this is quite the long outlap, actually. A lot longer than I anticipated. But all these drivers still just weaving about. Booth trying his best here, as I will take a drink of water before this race start. Enjoy that one, because that was my last 30 minutes here at the Glen. No water. As they are now rounding the final turn complex. Not quite sure what to call any of these turns just yet, as this track does look like a praying ape. Or Yeti. I'd say a Yeti. Praying Yeti. But now, drivers rounding the final corner. Booth leading the pack. Actually, he's not leading the pack, though. Why is Andy Oaks leading the pack? Booth, what are you doing? Brother, you gotta... Brother, you gotta lead the race. There we are. Noah's Ark formation now, 2x2. All these drivers getting ready. So we're about to go green here at the Glen. All these drivers trying their best. They all started from the opposite position to where they started now, as they're now underway. Great start from Booth and Oak. Actually, Oak under pressure heavily from Vincent. But Booth, amazing start, as we see 3 wide there into the chicane with the 190 car and the Sapien and Vincent. Milwee managing to make up some ground there. Colin as well, diving his way through the midfield. Milwee as well, trying his best to now hold on, as he did make up a little bit of ground. Now he has to hold it. Colin as well, doing the same exact thing. Wolfie heavily under pressure from Lackney. They all go under braking here into the first heavy braking section, really. Everyone's surviving so far. So far, very, very clean racing from everyone, as I have not seen much contact at all. We look down here at the field. Rivera actually Let's look at Dornales, as Dornales just being patient here, our previous race winner, and Mike Burkov, who has finished in P6, managed to lose quite a few positions at the start here, but we have a yellow flag. Ooh, that looks like a little bit of contact there. That was Skinner, Jarrett Skinner. Unfortunately, as we can go back here, see what happened, as they were just trying their best here to go too wide. They're still too wide. All right. Didn't help. Anyways, I tried. As we see a little bit more action, they're 3 cars off, it looks like. Beachley, Sapien, and Cranitis all having a bit, getting tangled up in that. Getting a little bit of damage to the front of their cars. There's position changes throughout the entire field. Look at all of these cars side by side here. So we can go back to that camera. Look at all these cars going side by side in the final turn complex. So we're looking like we're 3 wide at places here, but mostly 2 abreast. And they're going to be fighting. I'm assuming this battle isn't going to end throughout, well, anytime soon, honestly, as most of these drivers, they are all absolutely scrapping for these positions down here. We can jump up the field. Booth pulling away. Look at this. My man Booth, who had a very, very shambles race. I think that's fair to say last time, as he finished in the last position, but holding his ground quite well so far, with Padberg following up behind, and Vericosa. So everyone holding their ground quite well so far, except for Andy Oak, who started in P2, but managed to fall back to P5 right now, struggling to hold a little bit of ground. But we see here Cranitis heavily damaged, under pressure, as we see another yellow flag up the field. That is Rivera fallen, spinning, and Mike Burkov returning to pits. Oh no, I'm not sure what happened there. I need to see what happened there. Okay, I don't get to see what happened there. That's okay. I'll get better with this replay system, I assure you. Anyways, Kostovich there, plowing his way through the field as he started quite far back, now in P19. Lovely racing throughout here, as we've had very clean racing mostly so far. A couple drivers returning to pits, unfortunately, with probably a couple collisions. We see still side-by-side action, 3 wide. Wolfie managing to come out clean on this battle, not on top. P17 right now, trying to battle for that, hold off that position. And Raza under pressure now. Raza very good under pressure. She not okay. Beautiful. Beautiful save. He's great under pressure. I don't know what I'm talking about. That was a lovely save from Raza, as he almost went into the wall there. Everyone else just kind of being very content with where they are right now. We see Colin, though, side by side with Oak, I think that is. Oak losing out on that position. Falling down to P6 now. Looking like he's going to come under pressure from Schletter. Schletter looking like maybe he has a little bit of damage on his car there. So actually, I think that's just the livery. That is just the livery. But now, Milwee, yellow flag there, not sure what happened. Looks like maybe just a little bit of an offing, losing quite a bit of positions there, but no time for that, as we have battling up here with, yep, there it is, Colin. Getting a little argy-bargy with Andy Oak there. Andy Oak trying to make a move around the outside to reclaim his position, but kind of got shoved off and ended up losing one more down to Schletter. So Schletter P6 now. Lackany going to try his best to make a move as well. But Andy Oak going to try his best to hold that ground. We'll see. We can jump onto our previous race winner, Dornales, who's side by side, it looks like. As he's actually not side by side. He is just waiting to reap the benefits of this battle, as there are 3 currently scrapping for this position here. And he probably just wants to dive down and make all of these overtakes at once, if I had to guess. Might not work like that, as no plan survives first contact. But right now, he's going to have a very good run onto this group. Side by side, NASCAR style here. As we are in America, after all, the Glen. We got one running wide there. I think that was Ollie Raza rejoining the track. Doesn't manage to lose too much ground. We see an offing, unfortunately. That is Provolone. Not sure what happened there. We can go back and find that out as he rounds the final corner here. Will it show it? Come on. Ah. I don't know how this replay system works. I apologize. We'll figure it out. Milwee under pressure currently from Marzan. Marzan looking like he wants to make a move down the inside, but Milwee probably going to have none of it, actually giving him the ground there, but looking like he wants to... No, not quite. He's just very content with actually giving Marzan that position, as Marzan probably the faster driver of those two, and Milwee recognizing that and not wanting to... Or recognizing that his race isn't there, as we see there. That was Marzan, or yeah, that was Marzan using all of the track there onto the gravel even. We can jump on board here with Varricosa. He's doing a great job of defending. Unfortunately, no more as Schletter gets by him. Booth did lose that position to Padberg and is now going to be under pressure. And we have Andy Oak running off the track, unfortunately. Maybe made a bit of contact there on the side, not sure. But Padberg reaping all of the benefits from this. Currently in P1, as he's now going to run a little wide. That's okay. He's got the time to do so, as it looked like Booth kind of clattered the barrier there, but I think that was just a little bit of lag. We see there Marzan wanting to pressure Eric Miller to the best of his abilities. Eric Miller definitely not going to want to give up that position. We can now look at Gonzalez and Dornales. Unfortunately, a battle that we did not get to see last race is a battle that is now unfolding. I'm assuming Dornales is very content sitting behind Gonzalez, as they both recognize they have no offense to the rest of the pack, once again, as this pack is extremely close in pace, but they do have superior pace to the rest. Dornales, currently though, doesn't quite have the pace as he's falling behind on Gonzalez, maybe just waiting a little bit for this battle to keep going. Gonzalez trying his best to push his way through, more or less. That is of Kostovich and Smith. That's going to be a very tough one. They might want to be working together. Once again, all these drivers are quite fast, but everyone in this field is quite fast, so it's hard to say. Colin running a little bit wide there, losing out on a couple positions. Gonzalez can't quite, or Gonzalez does make it up. Dornales does get it as well. So Colin falling back there, 3 positions unfortunately, as he ran off the track onto the grass. We see Rivera and Milwee battling here. Milwee gonna have the inside line for the next turn. Does manage to hold it, but no, Rivera. Oh, that was Andy Oak. We can go on board with Andy Oak, and I think this will work this time. See him rounding the bend. I think he just got on the throttle a little too early and had a bit of an uh-oh moment. He returns to pits immediately, unfortunately. Andy Oak started in P2 this race. Unfortunately, was just not his race. I'm sure he will come back in the next one much stronger, as we also see falling through the field all the way down to P28. Currently being lapped, I think. Gonzalez and Dornales still together, working together all the way just to plow through the pack as they've started in last. But we also see Holly, ooh, bit of contact, rejoining the track. Is that going to have any incident? Does not look like it. We can jump back, see what happened there. 30 seconds. As they're side by side, looks like they just have a bit of contact right there coming around the final turn onto the straight. So they're already having a bit of contact. Let's see what happens here. Tucks into the slipstream. That's Dornales on the inside there. Holly gets rear-ended under braking. And that's unfortunate. He looks like he manages to avoid everyone else, luckily, but does get rear-ended. Loses a lot of ground. That you hate to see that. He was running a very good race up until that point. Gonzalez, though, and a lot of this field, definitely very happy to see that, as they had made up a position from that. Still Gonzalez Rivera trying his best to stay ahead of this pack as well. But we'll see how long he can manage to hold it, as a lot of these drivers are getting quite fast up here. We see Booth, he has a massive gap to the rest of the field. 10 seconds to P3, 7 seconds to P3, and 4 to P4. Anyways, he's doing well. That's the 2 and 2. Marzan running a very solid race as he started a bit far down. Vericosa, yellow flag, not sure why. No idea. He just had a bit of an incident. So we see a lot of these cars battered and bruised, as there's been quite a bit of contact so far. But these M2s can take it. They're a bit more beefy than your GT3 car and your GT4 car, for that matter. Oh my god. Okay. Life just got good. I have officially figured out Twitch. Cool. Anyways, go back on board here to this racing action. Maybe. Okay. Jump on board here to Padberg, who is very dominant on this field here. Already coming up to actually P18. Skinner. You see yellow flag down the field of Carnitas. Okay, that's not the best spot to be spun around on. We can jump back in time to see what happened there. Carnitas looking like he already had a bit of contact. He just eats the curb a bit too much there. Loses all grip. Manages to keep it on track, but then rejoins and has a bit of contact, unfortunately. Oh, that was almost, he almost got away with it. What's going on, Mike Burkov? Love to see you here. We got more battling in the field here. We actually have another yellow flag. Ooh, that was Miller. Eric Miller having a bit of contact. We can go back and see what happened there, as they were side by side coming through that final turn. Looking like they just... Oh, Eric Miller having a massive drift, that was. Okay, looking like he got on the throttle just a bit too early as well there. Lost all traction and got rear-ended from behind. A lot of these drivers just trying their best to survive right now, as it's halfway through this race. I'm also trying to survive on my last sip of water. You see actually here, Kostovich having a bit of contact, maybe a little bit there, maybe just running wide, I think that was actually. But he managed to start all the way down in the back of the grid in P5, or I think he's finished in P5 last race, and managed to all the way make his way back here to P5 this race. What's wrong with my water? It's empty. I drank it. And Dornalis as well, who started in the very back of the grid. He's now in P6. Ali Raza started in front of them. Looks like he actually managed to get overtaken at some point. Not sure when. But now he's trying to hold his ground from Gonzalez. He probably is laughing in his seat right now, saying, get a taste of your own medicine there, Gonzalez. As Gonzalez last race did nothing but hound, or Raza rather, did nothing but hound Gonzalez. Dude, my cup's big. I'm hydrated. You gotta stay hydrated. Yes, it is hot. It's very hot. And one driver here that actually I'd like to point out, Schletter, driver who more or less is I don't want to say a midfield driver, but currently showing what they truly can do, pushing their way all the way up to P3. So far, very good race. Looking like he just needs to hold on to this ground for now, but Marzan looking like he probably is going to catch Schletter at some point here. Kostovich has a bit of ground to make up because he, as well, is under a lot of pressure from Dornalis and Raza and Gonzalez. As Gonzalez right there looking down the inside of Raza, not having any of it, says, I'm going to make you go behind me now, and you're going to stay there. Wow, lovely move from Gonzalez, taking full advantage of that traffic. And Gonzalez now, Raza getting flashbacks from last race. I'm sure he doesn't want to stay here for long. But it's looking like Gonzalez going side by side with Dornalis. Can't quite manage to get anything done there, and Kostovich trying his best to pull away while these two scrap. It's a lovely battle coming out here as all these drivers giving each other massive amounts of respect. Running a little bit wide there does Raza. Doesn't get punished for it, and actually looking like he wants to have a run down the inside of Gonzalez. So we're going to be very optimistic if he manages to make that happen. So we can hop on board with him. No, he's not going to make that move. Okay. We can jump back here with Marzan, who's now caught up to Schletter. It's just a matter of time here. Schletter will see how defensive he can be. Now is his time to shine. But he also might just let him go. So actually, we see a drive-through penalty for Lackney there in 66 car. What was 66 car Lackney looking like? Actually, they just retired, unfortunately. Hate to see that. But Marzan attacking Schletter. Schletter looking like he wants to hold this position. That's what we want to see. Want to see some racing. As Schletter there, unfortunately, looks like he has a bit of a bad run coming out of that turn. Luckily, there's another turn very soon. Doesn't quite have time to get punched, but he runs wide again. Schletter needs to keep that under control. Marzan under... Whew. Marzan's going to have the outside for this next turn. Schletter late on the brakes. Marzan going to have the way better run coming onto this, going for the switchback. I do not think Schletter is going to be able to hold this off, unfortunately. Marzan's just going to have too good of a run coming down the straight here. He's the inside line. Late under braking. Manages to get the job done. Very clean. Schletter trying his best to make another move back, but not quite. Needs to just needs to get his head down again. That's okay. That wasn't his race to begin with. He can hold P4 now. He just needs to hold this ground for another 9 minutes, which sounds like an eternity. But it's looking like he is just content to stay in the slipstream there. if he can stay with Marzan for the rest of this race, then I'd say there's no way Kostovich can catch him, as Kostovich still under pressure from, well, not quite actually. He pulled a good bit away from this battle back here for P6, where Gonzalez currently leading it, but Dornales sending it down the inside. Bit of contact made. Gonzalez runs wide, almost loses it. Rejoins safely, but in the back of that pack right there. Oh, that's unfortunate. Gonzalez just having a bit of contact, getting run wide by Raza. We see side-by-side action as well with Dornales and Raza. These four not giving each other any breathing room whatsoever. Raza looking like he's going to hold this ground for now, but Dornales, he's going to very, very similar move here, it looks like, to what was done to Schletter from Marzan. Looks like he's going to want to do a repeat as, oh no, there's a massive bit of contact. Dornales gets forced wide as it looked like Smith there, or was that Raza made contact? We can go back in time, unfortunately. Raza, I think, made a bit of contact with Marzan on the inside, not Marzan, with Dornales, and then as well, Smith, it was Smith just collecting him. That was Dornales falling all the way back to P13, manages to probably sustain some big damage from that as well, as he clouded the barrier extremely hard. And looking like so is now Felker. He's trying to hold him off the very damaged car, and as you see those headlights flickering under braking, it's the sign of a wounded animal. But Raza still has a lot of work to do, as he's now leading Gonzalez and Smith. He's just got to get his head down for now. Whether or not that gets a penalty later, that's not on him. It's coming down the start-finish straight. Gonzalez is going to have the inside line against Raza. Raza's going to have to go very late under braking here. He does so, but not late enough. Side by side again, all the way throughout. Ali Raza running a bit wide, but Gonzalez taking the position. For now, that is, as we also see Smith. But Padberg, we see yellow flag. There is no yellow flag. We're fine. Padberg. Or Padberg. Okay, Raza. There we are. Raza under pressure from Smith. Whoa, as he has a massive bit of a tail slapper there. Tank slapper. Whatever. You know what I'm saying. That is a good point. That is a great point. So we will hop on board here with Mr. Smith, and we can see just how intense this racing is. Bumper to bumper action here. See, closing up heavily under braking. Do not try this on the motorway, kids. We all know you do. But don't. And we see once again here, Smith. This looks very familiar to last race, where Gonzalez leading, Raza leading Smith. We'll see if anything manages to happen from there, happens from this, but I don't think so. They're just very much trying their best to keep alive right now, I think. Tires are probably falling off at this point. I would imagine these cars are getting very difficult to control, as you can see right there. Cronitis making a track of his own. It's Cronitis' Glen, not Watkins' Glen. You see a yellow flag of Kostovich. See what happened with that? As he looks like he's quite on his own, actually. It looked like it might have been a self-inflicted error. As he runs wide, gets on the throttle early, and clouts the barrier extremely hard. Takes massive damage, does Kostovich. Schletter, though, he's going to be smiling extremely from that, as that was his main threat. Now, The threat down the road is going to be 5.6 seconds. They're going to have to make up more than a second a lap while under pressure. I don't see that happening. I think Schletter is going to manage. I think he's going to get P4 here. Just a lovely drive from Schletter. Kostovich dumping it under pressure. We can jump down here to I'm Not Jimmy, someone who's been neglected a little bit this race, but last race had a very good one going on until he, well, unfortunately fell back down to P9. Not quite having the best race of this one either, but managing to make his way up to P11. Marzan doesn't look like he's going to be able to catch Padberg. Padberg just too solid of a lead as he is absolutely, Booth. Booth is going to, if he doesn't get a penalty, don't get a drive-through penalty, Booth. You know, one job. 2 jobs. Keep your pace up and don't drive off the track. Ali Raza, though, doesn't care about that second one. Wants to drive off the track and use all of it, as he is determined to overtake Gonzalez. We can hop on board once again, as he's a little bit too far away to make a move on this one. See if he manages to get any closer. Not quite. Still, just Gonzalez. Oh, as he runs wide, actually. It's looking like, but also so does Raza. Both of them run wide there. Raza had the chance to punish, but not quite. But he's going to have still a little bit of a run onto him. But these cars are just bricks at high speed. Doesn't look like he's going to manage to get anything done here, unfortunately. Heavy underbraking. Clobbers the curb, does Gonzalez on the first one. Raza clobbers the second. Both cars managing to keep it very well under control. Lovely driving from the two of them here. Raza extremely early on the throttle. He wants to get the best run that he can here. But he can't quite close up enough, as he does have a little bit of a look, but Gonzalez just covering that gap. Driving perfectly in the middle of that track, making that M2 as wide as he possibly can. But that looks like lap traffic up the road. That's going to throw another wrench into this variable. We'll see here if Gonzalez can manage to get caught up here at the wrong time. Raza is going to have a very good opportunity to overtake him. And I don't think Raza is going to want to give up that position either, as we saw earlier, where he was being a little defensive on his driving, but all the drivers coming out clean nonetheless. And we also see down here Dornales, who had a very unfortunate incident, making contact earlier, getting pushed into the barrier,
The leader is on the final lap. Give it a
falling down to
final push.
P12. And we see Padberg now on the final lap. Booth as well. Just has to survive one more. He's got a 5-second gap. He can cruise this lap in if he wants. He shouldn't, but he can. We'll jump on board here with Raza. Raza wanting this position like a dog wants a bone. He is clawing at the door. But Gonzalez just not opening it. Keeps the door closed at every single opportunity. So once again here, I just don't think he's going to have the run into this chicane. Both of them taking Gonzalez, sliding that car perfectly, just on the edge of grip there. Ooh, Raza there, not quite the best gear shift, unfortunately. Had to short shift out of that one. Lost a bit of time to Gonzalez. Luckily, it's a short turn complex. We'll see here. Can he manage? Looks like he's falling farther and farther back every turn, it feels like. There aren't many turns left. He's got to get this job done very, very soon. So it looks like, unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be able to, as he's falling once again, just too far back at this point. And we see Padberg here, rounding the penultimate corner. Now the final one, coming onto the start-finish straight to get P1. An absolutely lovely drive from Padberg, followed up by Booth, who did manage to
Let's finish
coast
the
to this
race.
lap, and he had a 5-second gap at the start of this lap, did manage to bring that down to 3, wanted to take it extra safe, I don't blame him, manages to bring it home in P2. Marzan follows him in P3, followed by Schletter, and just a great masterclass of a drive from Schletter, holding on to these positions throughout the entire race. Gonzalez right behind him, followed by Raza, seems familiar. Then we have Kostovich, who had, well, not the best of races, unfortunately, as he could have finished a lot better, but finishing P8's not the end of the world. We have Milwy, along with Vincent, and I'm Not Jimmy behind them. We have Dornalis now, our previous race winner, who also did not have the best race, unfortunately, coming across the line. Skinner, one of the last one. He's a bit farther back. And we can see the celebration going on amongst the drivers, as that was a very, very good race to watch. Lots of action through and through. Dramas in the midfield and in the front. That was just an absolute masterclass. As if someone could find someone to raid, like Eric or something, that'd be sick. But no, just an absolutely lovely race from everyone here. Skinner now, final one to finish. Not the best race from him, unfortunately. Still manages to come across the line. Well, not yet. He will. Now he will. There we are. Awesome race from everyone. And so currently I'm just looking for someone to raid. 'Cause I don't think. Oh, we're doing this. Okay,
Green light.
Padberg,
Give it all
what's
you
up?
got.
Not much. How are you?
Good. I'm great. That was a very awesome race. I mean, you didn't really race.
Unfortunately, we had a big disconnect.
Yeah, it shouldn't have happened. I'm kind of actually bummed out that that happened because it would have been a better race for everyone.
What happened?
A lot of people disconnected, and basically people lost points because of it.
Oh,
And yeah,
I missed that. Unfortunately, I was too busy caught up in the action. That sucks.
yeah, but it's technology. It's sim racing. Things happen, but it's nothing we can really do except for restart the server. But there was enough people to do so.
But you still drove a great race.
Yeah, Um, but I did have a moment at the chicane where I kind of lost it, but managed to save it.
I
So
think I caught that.
yeah, and I actually so when the race started, I actually had a red engine, so I was scared the entire race that it was gonna blow up.
Well, it seems like the red engine maybe helped you a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, that was an awesome race from everyone. Are we going to get anyone else up here, Eric? Or
I don't. Who was in P2 and P3?
that's a great
See,
No, not Gonzalez. That's a great
see
question.
Booth or someone, I think, and then Marzan.
We could potentially get Marzan. Let me try to get Marzan.
All right. Yeah, well, I'll get out of your hair.
And that was Padberg. Awesome race from him. And Eric as well left. So I'm not sure if we're going to be getting anyone else. We will see. We will see. Hey, Marzan. How's it going?
We have Mr. Pedro Marzan.
Marzan, awesome race. Dominated the traffic.
Team Puerto Rico.
Oh yeah, boy. Puerto Rico. I appreciate it, man.
Made that traffic look easy.
Well, more or less. Like I have to fight with myself a lot to not kill somebody.
You did a really good job.
Yeah, I'm kind of improving in that and having more patience. These reverse grid are like working pretty well on that.
Oh, it seems like you've gotten this M2 down quite well.
Well, I mean, I have never drove before until uh this series, but this is the only series I'm like driving for fun on the weeks like constantly. So I'm just like it because with all that range you can have like pretty close to each one. I feel like close racing is better in this car obviously than all the GT3s and faster categories.
I
So
think throughout
it's
the
pretty fun.
field, I think there's like a 4 or 5 second field gap throughout everyone, which is just awesome to see from the back to the front.
Yeah, it's awesome to see, but it's not too awesome like doing it. It's a lot of pressure, like all that traffic trying to, it's fun if
There's so
you
much
like
side
manage
by
to not
side.
die. Yeah, 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 yeah. Definitely. A lot of rubber. I mean, like definitely.
No, that was a very fun race to watch for sure.
Yeah,
Hey
thank you
Pedro,
guys.
since
Yeah.
you have the opportunity to be here on the podium, why don't you tell us a little bit more about the Puerto Rico racing team?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah. Puerto Rico like e-racing club. Yeah, well, most people confuse the last word, but we're like a team from Puerto Rico that we just a bunch of group more friends. More like friends. And we are just focusing on like make popular the sim racing here, cause as you know, it's obviously that in Europe sim racing is way more sounds more than in America. So obviously here in the island. You don't hear it. So that's what we're trying to do. We're just a bunch of group of people that trying to like represent Puerto Rico and trying to make sim racing more popular. So keep growing the sport here.
That's really cool. Well, you're doing a great job representing, I would say.
I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. So that's what we're trying to do, and slowly, but we are constantly like approaching that goal.
How many members do you guys have
I think
currently?
we are like 11 or 12, something between that, 11 or 12.
Awesome. And that's the Puerto Rico Racing, not team. Wait, team?
Club.
Club. Okay, not team.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
The Puerto Rico
yeah.
Racing Club. Yeah, make sure to check that out, everyone. Or if you're in Puerto Rico and want to race.
Yeah,
So
everybody is welcome.
Pedro, I'm probably going to be coming to Puerto Rico next year, so I'm excited to potentially meet up with you guys.
Oh yeah, be ready. Be ready. That's all
Nice.
I'm gonna say. Be ready.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to bring this stream here to a close. So I'm just going to deafen real fast. Thank you guys. Great race, Marzan.
Appreciate it, guys. Appreciate it. See you in the next round.
Yeah, you as well. Awesome. And thank everyone for joining us tonight. I'm going to send the raid over here to I suck at this. I don't think he sucks at this. We're going to find out. Not really. He doesn't suck at this. He's a great man. Great guy in the community. And he's going to be racing GT3s at Watkins Glen. So if you want to see some faster cars, well, now's your chance. Because these M2s are not exactly faster cars. And it looks like he's going green right about now. So make sure you guys go ahead and check that out. Let's go and look in the chat. Make sure to join him. Show some love. I'd appreciate that a lot. But to everyone else, thank you guys. Have a great night. Thank you for joining us for the M2SDAY reverse grid round 3 at the Glen. Everyone have a good night.